and welcome to another Lord of the Rings Rise to War video. I'm the player who plays as the King Under the Mountain, and today I am not going to be talking about anything other than the season update. I may go into a few little tiny bits about what's gone on with the game and some reasons behind why some things may have happened or may not have happened. However, I'm not going to get involved in that drama today. I know there are some very sad people. I will share my thoughts on the game in general and reflect at the end of this season, I think, as I doubt I'll be able to get into another one. So, as I look across my final season of Lord of the Rings Rise to War, which is quite hard to say, to be honest, it's been a long time playing this game and a lot of fun. But we're going to go through the normal stuff. We're going to go through battle reports. We're going to go through the map. We're going to go through what's kind of happened in the server. As you can probably appreciate, it's a little bit more dead than what it was a week or so ago. And we're going to pass comment on that. And we are going to look at some fun stuff to do with the game. So, here we go. So, as usual, I am doing all right. And we're going to start with the leaderboards. So, personal affluence. Why not? Last season, I'm going to play... I feel like I should at least go back to my roots. In my season 1, I was the biggest farmer. I think I had something like 90,000 or something stupid. I owned so many 12 and 13 tiles. Pretty much all I took all day. So much so that the team that I played with at the time actually kept messaging me to say, can you please come to the front and help us fight? And I tried to claim that I didn't know how to build a fort to get there, and then they pointed out that I had several forts right by tiles. And that was my introduction to PvP in this game. And since then, even though I do love to farm, I've got to admit the PvP side of it did take over for me, so fair. Merit-wise, we are sat in 7th and climbing. I'm hoping to finish in the top 3. I think there's a distinct possibility of doing that with the amount of players left playing. I'd enjoy that. If I could get to number 1 before the end, I'd find that as a pretty satisfying last season, particularly if we ended up winning the season as well. But I can't see that happening, if I'm being honest. Fellowship-wise, you have the Gods and Home Kingdom at 3.8 and 3.2, respectively, in affluence. You have the Panda and Dragon Kingdom with 3.7 and 3.2 million. Really good kingdom as well, actually. They're playing really well. But we'll talk about that in a minute when we talk through the map. Then you have Toby to the bitter end, quite aptly named, I would say, playing in this fellowship in the final season, I would guess. Maybe in the recap video, after everything's done, maybe when we're going through all the good times and things like that. May put the quote in there as well. Anyway, then you have the Hope Kingdom at 3.1, who are with Equinox, and they are at 2.4. Etna are at 2.3, and Odin are at 1.7. And there's a few smaller teams like Wolf and everyone else down here, but realistically, and a fellowship called Cute. I mean, what is this? The Friendship Fellowship, that is genuinely adorable, and it's a real shame that this is the last season that's going to last. Anyway, so we have those fellowships. I wonder if everyone in free-to-play is actually free-to-play. That's a different thing. Commander-wise, we have lots of people who have hit level 50. I think the whole list are not quite there yet, to be fair, but most are. We hit level 50 a couple of days ago. Zolu will forever be immortalized at the top of this list. And what a frightening formation it is. Also a good player, and another player is quite gutted about the current state of affairs, which we're definitely not getting into today. I am also farming in the background, as you can see here, taking a few tiles, dying to a lot of chariots. I mean, that is obscene. The resource involved in that, if this was a normal season, I would be chewing this out, saying, what the hell are we doing here? However, it's not a normal season, so do what you want. Anyway, we're in the middle of farming. So, we are reinforcing. I will go to the map, I think is probably the best thing to do next after we've looked at where we are in the season. So, one ring to rule them all is open. 4 out of 5 significant structures have been taken. I'm pretty sure that's the glitch though, because I'm sure Gods have probably got 5. I'll check that out though. We own the ring for about 17 hours, something like that, but I'll go through that when we get there. I am 3rd in the teamwork rankings, and there is still 30 days left of this game. So 1 month left of the game. For me, I don't think we'll be able to get into another season afterwards. So I think that will be the end, and I will retire on that note very happily with the game, I guess. However, with great sadness, may I just add, I'm just going to farm some more tiles while we're on here, because let's face it, everyone loves tiles. And then with the rest of my tiles, I'm going to be a good little pather and use them to path around DG. So, let's head to the map. Now, watch your eyes, contrast-wise, this is interesting colour system. So, we have the Purple Kingdom here, which is Panda and Dragon. We have Gods and Home down here. We have the Hope Kingdom here with Etna, I think it is, who are there, and also here fighting along here. They've got a load of pins. They're actually a really active fellowship, to be fair to them. And clearly really enjoying themselves as well. Although it's not Hope and Etna, it's Equi. I apologise, because they're fighting against them. Then you have Etna and Wolf here and Cute, and Odin and Wolf there. So these guys are actually having quite a lot of fun over there, I would hazard a guess. It's been quite impressive how, particularly Hope in general, have been very active. So, what pins have we got? We've got, and in truth, considering the game is closing down, that's quite a substantial pin. And people should be proud of themselves for doing that around Amon Lank. There is a small pin here. I was involved in that, but once the game shut down, everyone kind of moved to centre, and that was kind of how that was. I would love to see, before the end of this season, but getting enough players still actively playing might make it difficult, for that pin to get over 100 million with everyone fighting in the centre. I think that would be a great way to sign off on this particular game. So we'll see how that goes. The ring is currently owned by Gods and Home. However, if we can get anywhere near Amon Lank, and I still find it a bugbear for this game, that it just doesn't do what it needs to do when you want it to sometimes. But we're going to go from here and go down. No, that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to find the pin location. Here we go. So basically, Panda have kind of surrounded the ring. I would hazard a guess they've allowed us to have this spring here, and they've gone south side. Gods have been fairly cleared out, I would say, from around Amon Lank. So I think Panda and Dragon are next likely to take the ring, to be honest. They have cut Gods off from here and Home. This is Home of owning this right now, but realistically, Panda and Dragon have cleared them from Amon Lank. Don't get me wrong, we've fought Gods today too, but realistically, most of the efforts come from Panda and Dragon, really. We were the first takers of the ring. I don't know if it comes up with first occupation still after someone else took it, but we'll have a look anyway. We were the first people who took the ring. We took it pretty much as soon as it opened. We held it for about 17 hours. As soon as we took it, basically both teams came out as hard, as you'd expect, and kind of wiped us out of the DG area. We were probably put back up here somewhere, and then obviously couldn't really defend DG. One, because not a million players are playing anymore, or I would probably say out of our team there's probably about 45, 50 players still playing. That, and I don't think really we were organised enough with flyers to probably try and defend Dolgoldor, and I think they did it pretty much while EU slept, which kind of killed that off for us really. But we were all kind of recovering from fighting both teams all day anyway, so that was that. That's kind of the map situation. There isn't really a great deal else to say about the map. All the fighting now, I assume, will be like the Spider-Man meme around DG. Already in World Chat. I mean, I'm pleased that people have seen it through to the end in World Chat. The bitterness and the salt around, oh, it's 2v1. Oh, now it's 2v1 on me. Like, it still, after 3 years, baffles me how people react to this kind of thing. So, there you go. So, that's kind of the map. I would love this pin to get to 100 million. And if anyone from this server is watching this video, let's try and get there and have some fun. If someone ends with the ring, realistically, I feel like they've got to take it to Mount Doom. You know, get it somewhere near Barad-dûr. So gods, if you don't have the ring, sorry, I feel like people should definitely be trying to take it to Mount Doom. Not necessarily taking your capital, but just taking it to Mount Doom, you know? So yeah, they've got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they have got 4. Okay, so no one at any stage has had 5. So that isn't actually a glitch for once. It is actually correct, which is good. That's nice to see that the game's got something correct, which is always nice. So that's kind of where we're at with the kingdoms. I am just going to very briefly go into some battle reports, and I've had some really good ones, to be fair. I've been really impressed with this formation. I've also seen some wild stuff, which it's a real shame that the game is actually closing down, because some of these formations are actually pretty cool. So, as per the norm, Galadriel formations. The people who invested in Galadriel kept trying to tell me that she's fantastic. Just no. It just didn't work for me, sorry. I mean, the amount of resource and the money inside this is just ridiculous for the amount of outcome that you're getting from swans. Not for me. Never was, never will be. It's one of my favourite stories, actually, is Phoenix and his Galadriel. And the first time I ever fought Phoenix, he was a little bit mouthy in World Chat. And I know some people sometimes have probably seen me comment on things from time to time. I'm not one to pass by. I'll get involved and things like that. And Phoenix was kind of bullying our free-to-play players a little bit. And this was in 1.0, to be fair. And it was around the time that the Dane Christmas avatar came out, which I absolutely love, that Christmas avatar. And I'm already doing my reminiscing about stories here, but hey, here we go. So basically, I decided it'd be a great idea, because I was a big 1.0 Dane user. I wear that badge with absolute pride until the end of this game. And every time I hit him, I crushed him, basically, because Dane used to crush Galadriel pretty substantially. And my Galadriel, I didn't really have in the end, but that's not what I'm talking about. My Dane wasn't as big as his Galadriel, to be fair. But every time I beat him, I sent him a different holiday in a private message, which was probably the first time I'd ever really trolled anyone, which, looking back, was a lot of fun. So I started off with Happy Thanksgiving, Happy Christmas. I think we went through to everything from Valentine's Day to, by the end of it, I was back at Christmas again, I think, and I had a lot of fun with that. But to be fair to him, and I respect him for it, he never replied once. But he also never said anything else in World Chat. So, you know, moral of the story is, don't give it out if you can't take it, right? So anyway, this guy is a bit of a crackeny, whaley type. And yeah, really nice result, really good formation. I've got to admit, I know it's irrelevant now because obviously the game is closing down, but this T2 cavalry really does chomp through stuff, and woodmen are brilliant. Like, I've run this formation all season, rarely lost to people of my size or bigger, and I stomp people who are smaller with different units. This was a nice fight. Some 1.0 gear here. Commander's damage plus 18%, but damage dealt by the commander's formation unit minus 6%. I mean, trying to get Sauron to do damage. Nice. It didn't work, but nice. Nice Gandalf the White. Scalhelm. Still rocking the initiative piece. We've got to love a bit of 1.0 gear. I presume this is courage. Yeah, there you go. Nice. That is a good piece, to be fair, for Scalhelm. Nice Scalhelm, actually. And always a nice Dane. I will always be a big Dane fan. He is my man. I have never seen a result this close, I don't think. And look who is the only person left alive. So, we'll flick through these. Again, really nice formation, to be honest. I'll have won on resource, but, you know, who talks in resource wins apart from me? I feel like I'm probably the only person in the game who actually talked in resource wins. And I will continue to do so until the end. So, this was like people just packing Iron Warriors around. I think I put this in here because I enjoyed the fact that Dane still did 100k. My formation is still pretty whaley. This is my B team. Daddy Dane doing 133k there. And Shadow putting in the work too. But against a pretty decent formation, you know, there's a lot less investment in this. Dane's still putting out 100k. Bjorn putting out 106k, but no one really cares about Bjorn's damage in comparison to Dane. Let's face it, Dane was the boy for damage. So that was that. This was the one that I was talking about, that I really enjoyed this, even though I got absolutely wrecked. And I was thinking, wow, you know, if the game is continuing, it looks like he was onto something. And it looks like, sadly for him, he was onto something at the wrong time. But this formation absolutely smashed me to bits. I mean, when it hit my A team later on in the season, I don't think I'd put that in here, but literally that wrecked me, and then I wrecked him with my A team. But I thought he was on something there. It looked nice. Asahi has got a nice formation. And again, enjoyable. Love a Snagger Sauron. I plan on using Snaggers in the next week or so, I would say. I'm just trying to fight a bit more, I guess. But my resource is that ridiculous that I could probably just put Snaggers on everyone and still just about stay in troops. Zolu, really nice formation. This is one of my more positive results. We seem to get very similar results. And I put that down to the fact that I think I would probably beat him if they ran the same formation as me, as in the same troops. This extra cav really does do a number on me, I think, when I'm hitting it. Also, the full evil team, he does get more stuns and madness than I do. It just depends who he hits. So, I don't know. I still feel that is the best formation than that. I still don't think Undying is as good as Gandalf the White. However, there is a level of irrelevance to that conversation now, but I'm going to say it anyway. Again, same team, just a slightly better result for me. All my commanders are still alive as well, so the draw is irrelevant, really, because there is no draw. I'd have beat him easily. Again, Asahi, you know, nice play by me, really. This formation does do good work. Asahi again. I must have really liked beating Asahi. This is a few days ago. But yeah, again, going through that Guardian HP. Juicy Guardian HP. Then, who I don't think in my entire time of Lord of the Rings Rise to War I've ever spoken to. Obviously, the leader of Panda occasionally pops into World Chat, tends to ignore most things apart from, you know, the things that they want to, like any leader, really. So, I enjoyed this result. And I've got to be honest, most of the Toby team enjoyed this result. But there you go. Yeah, it's a nice result for me. Mack Truck from Panda. I haven't actually fought Panda a great deal. However, I have a feeling that I probably will for the rest of the season now, because I think they will be the team to beat. But I was happy with that. This guy was a bit crackeny, I think, from memory. Also had some really nice troops, but again, like, this formation just slaps things. And I would love another 26 seasons just with that formation, just slightly improving it, just letting it slap everything, and using Woodman as well, because I've really enjoyed Woodman the White, as I've said before. We have Liver69. I wonder if he's a Liverpool fan. But anyway, there we go. So, really nice Sauron. He's up there in the merit rankings as well. Fully refined Saruman. Full refined Z10 Dane. 100k damage from Dane again. Gotta love Daddy Dane. Full refined Gandalf the White. Tears are involved there, and I completely appreciate why, I would say. Unless there's a big negative gem balance against it, which fair play if there is. So there's that. And then there's the last one, which is this guy again, Arachnic Kids, who, I mean, look at those chariots. Z9 Gandalf the White. R6 Sauron. Z1 Bjorn. Z1 Dane. So I would assume this was a good side account that came over into an LP, I would hazard a guess. However, really nice result again for me. That is all of them that I put in. Like I say, to be fair, I have been a busy boy. This will be the... Yeah, see, Golo's still going as well. I'm glad Golo is still going. However, Golo is trying to take my ore tile at the minute and has been slacking because he is only level 45. Although I think this is the B team. Yeah, it is, yeah. Fair play, Golo. I think he slapped me yesterday, I think, when I fought him yesterday. Fully blocked to defending that tile. Now, I would have defended that 10 tile with my life. What we got down here? Venner. Wait. Venner's ult, I would have to guess. We all love an ult. So we'll try and kill that path in a minute, I reckon. In fact, we'll probably send it the path for now. Let's go for that. I reckon we're still running from that. And that's kind of everything I wanted to say today. If I'm being honest, I'm trying not to pass comment on the game in regards to it closing down. Obviously, this will be the final season. This game's been a great time for me, and I think when I come down to pause afterwards, obviously there's been a lot of anger from people in the last week or two for understandable reasons, really, because of things that have gone on in regards to the game and it finishing and things like that. I think when it all calms down, it'd be quite nice to have quite an open chat about it and maybe a stream about it and kind of go through the good times, really, and also the bad, because there's obviously been some things. The switch from 1.0 to 2.0, probably have like a game leaving sort of stream, maybe on the last day of the server, potentially, something like that. I know I've got some people I want to fight on the last day, which I haven't fought for a while, from my own team. And then, you know, any recommendations on new games to look at, streaming wise and to play wise, would be great. I have played a little bit of King Shot. I do play a little bit of Fortnite. I have considered doing Fortnite, but I can get a bit grumpy on Fortnite when I get killed consistently, because I'm not great at Fortnite. So any suggestions for future games would be great. Other than that, as always follow your nose.